Guys, we have to stop meeting like this. I'm doing another book unhaul. I guess I've just been in the mood to get rid of books, especially books that I've read and haven't loved, books that I bought on a whim and don't have the time for or won't make the time for. I'm just gonna get through this stack because I've got to make this a short video because I've got no space on my phone. So let's just get started. First, we have Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. This is I think a first attempt at like a YA contemporary, but there is still a magical undertone where um the main character wakes up with the ability to inflict instant karma on people who've wronged her. As I've mentioned before though, this font is tiny. Who's reading this? It is so small and I have no interest in it. I bought it because I really enjoyed Heartless by Marissa Meyer, but I haven't read anything else by her since, so we're just gonna get rid of that. Next, I also have another one I bought on a spur of the moment thing. It's Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. I didn't like The Sun Is Also a Star. I really liked Everything. If I still own it. I might not own it anymore. This one, I just can't be bothered. Basically, I just cannot be bothered. Same with this next book. It is Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls. I've heard great things about this book. I have owned it for about 3 or 4 years. One of the best friends ends up dead. Everyone thinks it's a suicide, but her best friend thinks it's definitely a murder. And I'm never going to make time for it. So let's get rid of it. Let's keep it moving. I'm getting rid of 2 books by Maureen Gu. I have read... Oh, I might keep this one. I really like The Way You Make Me Feel. I read this one and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. I like YA set on food trucks for some reason. It gives me a really good vibe. This one I haven't read, so I'm just going to get rid of it before I read it and fall in love and keep it. And it is Somewhere Only We Know. No idea what it's about. Saying goodbye to you. Next, we have The Family Tree by Steph Mullen and Nicole Amarby. I actually did read this book. It was relatively interesting, but not enough for me to want to keep it. Basically, a girl does a DNA test, finds out that she's adopted, tries to meet up with her biological family, and then she gets involved in an FBI case because her DNA, which was used on the DNA website, is actually linking her to a criminal, like through relative DNA. So it sounded really interesting. It just didn't hit it for me. Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. Seems like a YA about mental health. Don't care about that anymore. I'm not in that place in my life. All These Perfect Strangers, I actually have read. I borrowed it from the library and I read it. I really enjoyed it. I found this book for $3 and I don't remember what this book is about. So she can leave. This one I was so excited to find in Australia. It is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. But I've heard not great things about this. Basically, the concept is these two meet at a party, they fall in love. 6 months later, the girl dies, Kate dies, but then Jack sends him back in time to the first moment they met, and it's all about him like, can I change it? Can I prevent her from dying? And I think they keep going back until he figures it out. It basically seems like a newer version of that book that I really liked by that author, Lauren Oliver, Before We Fall. I really liked that book. I know that like going back in time and trying to fix things, it's like the butterfly effect, yeah? It's not an uncommon trope or idea, but I'm okay with Before We Fall, so I don't need this in my life. Next I've got Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon. I actually really liked the first book by David Yoon, Frankly in Love. I really enjoyed that book. But just again, over time, I've completely lost interest in this and I just don't see myself ever picking it up. You know, what is happening with my hair today? Like this side looks curly, but this side looks not as and then I've got like, it's so flat on the top. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. It's fine. Next I have Vampires, Hearts and Other Dead Things by Margie Fuston. I have got a bookmark in here. I read 27 pages before I decided this just wasn't the book for me. It was very strange. Basically, it's set in this world where vampires have gone public, have told people and told humans, yeah, like, we exist. But then have gone back into hiding because people obviously want to kill them and hurt them, and some people don't believe them. Some people think that it's all just like a publicity stunt or something. Victoria and her dad have always loved, like, they have an interest in vampires. They watch all the vampire movies and TV shows and read all the vampire books. And when Victoria, basically her dad's on death's door, he's really sick, and her mum and sister are ready to plan funerals, and Victoria's like, well, I'll just go and find a real life vampire to bite dad so he can live forever. And she ends up meeting that guy. I didn't get that far. I got 27 pages in. It was just so grim. Like, dad's dying, everything sucks, he's definitely going to be dead soon. I wasn't in the mood to read it then, and I probably will never be in the room to meet it. Yikes. And next we have another one that was, okay, so I read Tweet Cute by Emma Lord when it first came out. I really liked Tweet Cute. I think it was like a really cutesy romance, but it had a lot more kind of family stuff and financial problems and more real life stuff in it, so I enjoyed it. This one, You Have a Match, basically seems like a retelling of The Parent Trap. Is that the Lindsay Lohan movie where there's twins that get separated at birth? I think it is. It sounds like that version of this, except they made it a summer camp. The sisters made it a summer camp, and they're not like 12, they're in their teens. And there's like a side plot romance. And I'm gonna say it one more time, I don't care. It sounds harsh, but okay. I never thought I would get over my YA phase. I was like, I will be 35 and I'll still be reading YA. I'm 27, and every time like I see like YA that I don't have like a specific interest in, I just don't care. Like Casey West, I still will read her books. I hope I will always read her books because they're really fun and lighthearted. But there's probably going to come a point in time when I unhaul my Katie West collection, and it might break my heart. I don't think we have any more YA here, so that's fine. Let's just power along. I'm so sad to be getting rid of this book because I think it is a beautiful cover, and I liked the author's first book, but it is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This wasn't it, guys. I tried so hard to enjoy it. I tried so hard to just ignore all the bad reviews I'd heard, but it just fell so flat. It was like, you know, as you're reading, you think you know who the killer is, and then you dismiss that thought thinking, that can't be the killer. That's way too obvious. Like, why would you do that? And then it ends up being that, well, I don't know if it was obvious. It was obvious to me. It crossed my mind many times, and I'm like, well, that wouldn't make any sense. Why? What's the motive? And then the motive is something that we never would have even had a hint of being a... It was just not a vibe. I'm going to actually see if my mom wants to hold on to this, because my mom read The Silent Patient and then she read The Maidens. I read The Silent Patient first, then I gave it to her. She read it, she enjoyed it. I bought The Maidens, I gave it to her to read first. I think she liked it. I don't think she liked it as much as The Silent Patient, but I mean, if she likes it enough to keep it, it's going to be hers, so that's going into a separate pile. Next we have a really recent purchase. I mean, this book came out last year, and last year was 4 months ago. It is released by Lucy Christopher. I doubt anyone watching this video has any idea what this book is, but it is the sequel to a book I loved when I was a teenager. So Lucy Christopher's first book was a book called Stolen, and it's about a girl who, I think she's American, she might be English. She's at an airport with her mum. I don't know what they're doing there, but basically a cute guy, offers to buy her a coffee, and then she wakes up in Australia. Like, he's drugged her coffee, gotten her onto a plane, taken her to the Australian outback. As someone who lives in Australia, I was kind of interested by this concept, and it was very much like a Stockholm Syndrome story, but like the main girl, what was her name? Gemma. Gemma is very... maybe I should keep it. Basically, okay, so Gemma, throughout Stolen, she's very aware, like, he has kidnapped me, this is illegal, I don't want to be here, I need to escape, I need to escape, I need to escape. But she is in the middle of the outback. She can't escape, she won't survive escaping. And he, like, takes care of her, and he feeds her, and he wants to get to know her. And the book ends, and I always wanted to know what would happen after. I would say it ends... I mean, some people might find it conclusive, but for me, I just wanted to know more, like, what is going to happen to these characters. And then I found out that Release was coming out, which is set 10 years later. And my only problem is that in the first book, I obviously can separate, like, fact from fiction, real life from books. So while I knew that if this ever happened to me in real life, I would be fucking terrified, in the context of this book, I was like, these characters just get each other. Like, I know they came together because he kidnapped her, but I love these characters together. Like, and if she could just stop trying to escape for 3 seconds, maybe she'd understand what he's trying to do, why he kidnapped her. And I'm worried that if I read this book, it might destroy what I thought of the characters in the first book. But maybe I need to. Maybe I'll keep this one. This unhaul's it's not as successful as I thought. I'm going to keep 2 books so far I'm keeping that I thought I was getting rid of. This one I'm definitely getting rid of because I just have... I'm getting rid of this one, I promise. This book is basically, it's called Too Good to Be True, The Colossal Book of Urban Legends by Jan Harold Brunvand. This book, I don't know how I found out about it. I think someone on BookTube was probably talking about it. And I always thought it'd be like a cute coffee table book about urban legends, but it seems to also go into like where this urban legend started, like the one about the babysitter calling the parents and being like, there's this weird statue in your kid's bedroom, like a clown statue, can I cover it up? And they say, we don't have a clown statue. And you realize a clown's dressed up, like a person dressed as a clown has come into the house and is just standing in the baby's room. This goes into more of like, where would that story have come from? When was the first time something similar to this happened in history? And how did it morph into what it is now? But I kind of maybe want to keep it just for a little bit. If I don't pick it up in the next like month, it's going to go. I am going to sell this next book. Well, I'm going to try and sell this book. It is a bind-up of Push and Pull by Nyla Kay. It is the Love is Love limited edition omnibus. It is obviously... No, why would it be signed? Why would it be signed? Oh, it's got a book plate though. I have enjoyed one book by Nyla Kay because I've only read one book by Nyla Kay, but this is not it. I just don't think this is a pretty cover. And like, from what I know about Nyla Kay, her books are essentially just smut, like a little bit of romanticized smut. This cover does not scream that to me, so this one I'm probably going to sell. And the last book I am getting rid of is Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. I think this is one of those thriller authors where her books get progressively better as she goes along, so I don't really see myself going back to her earlier releases. And I think I already own 1 or 2 of her other books that I have more interest in, so this one is going to be going. I only have a little bit of time left before this video cuts itself out. So no one's gonna see this, so there's no point even asking this question. These videos are basically just for me. I am considering selling my copy of Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. It is the Beyond the Pages edition. It is gold foiled. It is such a beautiful cover design. I don't remember if this one is signed or if it's got a book plate. It is a signed book plate. I know that people would probably want this book, but I am looking at it now and it is a little bit damaged. So I don't know if it's even worth trying to sell or if I'd be better off just keeping it for a bit. I'll put this back on my shelf for now. But it might go in the future. Anyway, guys, sorry about this hair situation. Sorry about this being like, oh my god, books I'm unhauling and then actually keeping a bunch of them. Sorry. Enjoy your day. Tell me what books you've unhauled recently. Tell me what books you look at on your bookshelf and think, can you just leave?